and welcome back to another episode of Absolute Comics, the weekly show where I get together with Sal and we talk about the news going on in the world of comic books. That's basically it. I don't have anything else to say. It's what the show is. We go over the news, we talk about stuff that's happening, we talk about stuff we've been reading. And Sal, we're not even supposed to start the show for 10 more minutes, but I wanted you to press record because Sal, what is Marvel doing again?
I mean, what are they ever doing? What are you specifically referring to in this particular instance?
Okay, all right. So Miles Morales movie came out, amazing, still crushing.
Everyone's happy. Yes.
I started covering the Carnage Reigns story. Now, if you don't know what that is, Miles Morales met up with Carnage in King in Black, and we never really saw resolution to that. What they've decided to do is Carnage has come back to get revenge on Miles for kicking out the symbiote.
All right.
That's Carnage Reigns. Not the greatest plot, but it's Carnage coming to fight Miles is what it boils down to. Okay.
Sure. All right. Fine.
And it works so far. I read issue 1. I read issue 2. And I'm like, all right, cool. Once 3 and 4 drop, we'll get those out on the channel. I'm scheduling all this stuff because I'm going to VidCon tomorrow. Part 6 drops tomorrow. Where the F is 3, 4, and 5? Where are they? When did I miss that? Because 1 and 2 came out 2 weeks ago. I was 1 week behind covering them, Sal.
Right. I don't know.
So where is it, Sal?
I mean, I guess they're out, right? You just missed them.
Apparently, Carnage issue 13 is part 3. Red Goblin number 5 is part 4. Carnage number 14 is part 5. So Miles is released tomorrow is part 6.
Gotcha. All right. So they're just hidden in other people's books because that was the conceit all along.
All right. Why? It's just why? What makes this less sense? I'm looking at the writers now. Alex Parknadel is writing the story. Okay?
The main story. Or the whole story.
Alpha was written by Alex and Cody. Cody's and Alex Partinell. And then Cody wrote the Miles Morales' portions while Alex is writing everything not Miles Morales. So they're just they're going back and why? The finale is June 28th, Sal.
Oh.
Tomorrow is the part before the ending, and then we're going into what the hell is going on at Marvel, Sal?
I mean, there's no good leadership. That's the problem. You have significant
my job.
Marvel and DC. Because we should know. You can't deny that there is no well-executed roadmap for any of their event. I mean, look at the Secret Invasion time we were talking about off mic. It's a time with the show that, the book was finished long before the show came out. That, from what I understand, was dreadful, and no one even knew. I remember when it was coming out, and I saw these covers, and I'm like, "Is this a reprint? What's going on? Are you doing Secret Invasion again? If it's again, is it going to be as big? No, just this quiet little thing, this crappy cash grab. Yeah. But in order for it to be a cash grab, you got to get people to buy it. People need to know it exists."
100%. I mean, that's the issue I'm having with this. Carnage Reigns isn't a great story, but it's not a terrible story. I was enjoying it. I wanted to see where it's going to go.
No one's buying a book with Carnage's name on the cover because they're like, I'm looking for nuanced, subtle, incredible storytelling. They're looking for a bloodbath. That's all it takes.
That's what Carnage is. He's murdering everyone.
Okay. All right. Then sell that. You know what I mean?
I'm just so irritated by Marvel and DC's decisions to do these crossovers. I'm going to follow up on another discussion that we had, I think, last week, Sal, where we were talking about Dawn of DC and Night Terrors.
Yeah.
You were wrong. Those are not separate stories from the main line. They're interrupting all of Dawn of DC.
So everything is getting put on hold, as I understand it. They're just halting all the books.
I don't even think that's the case. I forget which one I just read, but it ended with, well, the situation is now resolved. Meet you in Night Terrors next week.
Oh, okay.
What was I just reading that did that? Maybe Batman? Maybe Batman did that. Was that the Hot Chip Zdarsky ended it?
I wouldn't know. I didn't. I read the latest Batman.
Yeah, 136, where he's we finally find out Zerodar may be the villain of the arc, which I'm kind of down with.
Great.
Oh, you don't like that idea?
I'm kind of down on this entire run.
Right. Well, okay. So let me ask you this: we're gonna pivot because my complaint with I love the Miles book. I love what they're doing with the Miles book.
No, this is to be continued. In the next issue, the latest Batman is just this is just gonna keep going.
Right. No, but here's what I want to ask you about the Batman.
Yeah.
So if you aren't following, Batman started up in 125. We've gotten to 136. Zur-En-Arrh created a robot Batman that is beating down Batman and was able to send him to a different universe where Batman learned what it means to be Batman. Not original storytelling, but I like the way Chip Zdarsky handled it.
Totally.
But what I am finding original, and I can't think of another story like this, and I'm putting my Batman cred on the board here.
Yeah.
Has Batman ever fought his literal self? Not a
Right.
clone, not a robot, not an alternate reality. His literal own mind.
Yeah.
Because
I'm sure
I feel like
yeah.
that has to be a story, probably done by Grant Morrison.
Yeah, I mean, Batman has been the victim of his own mental demons.
Right.
He has created like traps within his own mind. He's been hoisted by his own petard. But I don't know if I've ever seen Batman like fight himself in like a physical manner.
Because it's in his own mind. It's his physical body embodiment. Zur-En-Arrh,
Yeah.
as we saw in the backup of 136,
Right.
Zur-En-Arrh can just take over his body.
Exactly. So Batman has to like fight himself directly. I mean, it is, and of course, it's one of the basic tenets of storytelling. It's man versus self. Okay, it makes sense to me, and it's a good sell. Like that is a solid pitch. It's like the whole damn thing is going to be about Batman versus himself. That there's like an inner turmoil, but at the end of the day, the main villain of the Batman run is Batman, and Batman is going to have to fight himself. And at the end, he should be all the better for it. Okay. I mean,
but have we seen that before? Because I feel like Batman's too old for us not to have. But I can't think of something.
I feel like Brother Eye was kind of that. I feel like Tower of Babel was kind of that. I feel like
But he wasn't fighting his actual self.
no,
Like,
but he wasn't
directly.
Exactly. Like you can say that like there are ideas that I've seen that are similar to this, but you can't say literally Batman has fought himself. There's a secret, evil, true, real Batman within himself that is like puppeting him and fighting him. Look at the Arkham games. There's one of those where the Joker is in him, and it's actually just him. It's not really the Joker,
Yeah.
but like it thinks it's the Joker, and so they're fighting each other, and that's the closest thing you'll get. But at least it's taking the embodiment of the Joker, and even then, like in this story, it's taking the form of Zur-En-Arrh. So it's at least it's not just like another Batman. It's Batman in this different outfit and a different personality. So okay. I would argue that we haven't seen that story since the New 52, and we may not have seen that story since, post-crisis. I'm not sure.
I haven't seen it fight. I mean, it's a variation on a story that has been told. I'll agree with you on that one. It's not
Right?
not 100% original, but I think
No, it's not the most original, but it is pretty original. Like, it's an idea. It's an idea that we haven't seen. It's an idea I haven't seen executed by Senator Capullo, Joshua Williamson, James Tynion
he's
IV.
battling his own inhibitions, his
Tom
own
King.
problems, his own
Yeah.
mental state, but he's never fought against himself physically.
Yes. Yeah.
And I liked that little twist at the ending where Failsafe in that backup was like, "What do I do when I take care of Batman?" As Zur-En-Arrh's like, "And we'll answer that later."
Right.
Because that's what I've been wondering since since Failsafe warped Batman. Failsafe won.
Yeah.
What happened next? Because
Yeah, no.
he obviously didn't conquer Gotham like they said. It just sounded like he was holding Gotham until Batman showed back up. Like I'm just using this to get you.
Yeah, and there's no follow-up. There's no fallout from that either. There is Batman Ego, where like his own ego fights him basically. But again, it's in the mind. Similarly, but it's not. I don't know. It's not the same thing. That was more of like they were doing it as a kind of done in one. Like this is an ego trip. It's important. Like that story was more about the battle of wits for Batman and what his role is going forward than it is like a story arc that you could like market.
That's kind of like someone brought up the storyline that Tom King wrote, Batman versus Bruce Wayne. That was, or I guess you covered it in back issues, but I'm assuming it was
that was Batman Ego. That was that one.
There is one actually called Batman versus Bruce Wayne for the Tom King run, but it's not in the same way. I forget what it is, but Bruce Wayne goes to court to basically exonerate Batman.
With Mr. Freeze. Yeah,
and they use knowledge and stuff like that. It's the titling makes it sound like it's gonna be juicy, but it's not at all what you would.
No, this is like Zdarsky's taking ideas that have been peppered throughout Batman's history and going like, but what if that literally happened though?
Yeah,
like, all right. I mean, like during this is the best time to do that kind of story because I think we're in like the least subtle period of reading. So knock yourself out.
So, but that's what's going on in the world of comics right now. I haven't read too many other things. I've been reading a lot of One Piece, which
Yeah,
you don't like One Piece, right? You're not because you don't read manga generally. Okay.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah, so there's nothing to discuss here with the trailer dropping because you're gonna just be like, okay, looks like a terrible Netflix show.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So let's go ahead and get into our topics. It's gonna be a shorter day today, guys, because I have to go prep to go to VidCon and I don't want to. I do not at all.
Fair.
I don't at all. If you
Well,
guys,
I mean,
Sal's been to VidCon once, right?
no, I've never been to VidCon.
Okay, let me explain VidCon real quick.
Yeah.
VidCon's terrible. When I first got into YouTube, all the way back in the 2013s, it was 2015. I decided I would go to YouTube. I would go to VidCon. So at the time of 2015 is when I was running my our branch of an MCN, basically to kind of run things and get people partnerships at YouTube and stuff like that. It's back in that era, and we were trying to branch away from the company that held the rights to the MCN. So I went to Google headquarters over here down in Boulder. And then I also went to VidCon to try and just get my way into somebody's office and talk to them. That was the first time that I discovered that YouTube actually has nothing to do with VidCon. VidCon is hosted by old YouTubers who then sold it to a company. YouTube has nothing to do with VidCon. They have a presence now, but they don't actually own VidCon. So, which is
okay.
Weird to explain, you know?
Yeah.
And what VidCon is all of those companies trying to get the vloggers to try their beauty products or their stupid, crappy stuff. And it's terrible. It's horrible. And it's every beauty blogger and fitness guru and all these people and 13-year-old girls. I'm not even kidding. 13-year-old girls running across it. It's all it is. It's like I did it 2 years in a row. Did the year where I tried to get in. And then the second year I went back. And that was when I got to play with I got to play some stupid board game with Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, and Emma, whoever. I don't think she's a big deal anymore. She might be. I don't remember, but she was like a big vlogger, female vlogger.
Yeah.
And that was the one where I got elbowed by security, escorted into the back where all the big YouTubers are hanging out, and then I got yelled at because I wasn't supposed to be in the back. I got escorted out of there. And it was just stupid. It was stupid. I went those 2 years, and all it is kids screaming, trying to get selfies with their favorite influencers. And we never went back, period, at all.
Yeah.
So now you're chatting, Sal. Why are you going right now, Benny? Stupid business
That's
bullshit.
what I'm wondering. I mean,
business bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
We have a new initiative we're trying to do, which is going to require me to talk to. See, the thing is, you know who will go to VidCon? All those business people who want to try and meet with those influencers.
Yes. It'll just be like a sea of children who have something that adult men in business suits want that they think they'll be able to leverage into income, which they won't.
Right.
I love seeing that. So I can imagine it's just a bunch of kids being like, hey, yeah, look what's going on. And then a bunch of adult men in full business suits just chasing after them.
Yep. That's
being
because what it is it boils down to is what people don't see is I call it the dark side of the YouTube stuff. And I mean, I fell prey to one of those recently, which is why I've been stressing out so much. But when you hit a certain level on YouTube, every company and their brother wants a piece of the pie. They don't want to do any work. Yeah. They just want a percentage of what you're earning and claim they're going to do stuff. And I'm not even referencing MCNs. There's a lot of companies that do other bullshit and try to take money. One of the bigger ones right now was Jelly Smack. They would offer to make all of your Snapchats and your Facebook and do everything for you, but at a 50% cut of your work. And so those are the times, and they go to these things to try and meet with people. But there are some very intelligent people and very skilled people at these things. And with our new initiative, we might need some of those bodies. So I have to go to VidCon to have meetings that are stupid, which is probably going to lead to a lot of me sitting around the hotel room, eating good food and playing Street Fighter on my Steam Deck. That's VidCon for those who are wondering.
I remember growing up, not growing up, but growing into this industry and being told that VidCon was a big deal. And that I remembered people that I followed or watched went to it and wanting to go, but not ever going and then finding out that it never mattered in the first place. And then it fell apart. It was it's like wanting to go to E3 now, which of course you will never be able to again. So,
Right. It's really, VidCon, like, it's funny because when I stopped going, a lot of those companies would be like, "Hey, are you going to VidCon? We got to meet up. We gotta network and do it." And I'd be like, "I'm not going.
Exactly.
I'm not going." And a few times they'd be like, "Well, why aren't you going to VidCon?" I'm like, "Because it does jack shit for me. You
Yeah.
want to talk to me? I'll take a phone call. Otherwise, meet me at San Diego Comic-Con or New York Comic-Con. Those I will be at." And
Mhm.
before that, E3, Dan and I got into the last one, but we would go meet up there. But
Yeah, no, and even Comic-Con, like, it's not happening. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, nothing's going on there. We do go and we do, like, we make that into a business trip. Like, somehow we managed to make that work. But, like, last San Diego Comic-Con when we went, just because it was like the first San Diego Comic-Con since COVID, I saw a lot of glad handing and, like, back scratching for deals that would never have happened in any normal circumstance, but because people were just like, "Oh my god, it's you in person.
right.
Let's make a project." And then they never probably did. You know, uh, we didn't really benefit from it. I mean, we got to meet a few people that
I
we
mean, it's
like
the same
work
deal. We have
with.
a lot of business stuff that we should be doing at San Diego this year, which is why we're hoping to go, and we're
Big
going to be
time,
going to that
which
this
is
time.
nice. That's always.
But you're
great.
right. A lot of it doesn't even pan out. Like, I don't expect this VidCon thing to pan out. I'm almost ready to cancel and not even go tomorrow. But that's another reason behind that. And I think I might piss off a few people if I pull that one
Yeah.
off. But like, I'm meeting up with my YouTube partner manager. Yay, that's gonna
Yeah,
be
I mean,
fun.
that's important, like, and it's about cementing relationships. But even
Yeah.
then, like, it only works if everyone's on the same page about doing that.
Yeah.
You know, like, if you just run into somebody that you're supposed to know or supposed to work with, and you're like, "Hey, we should do something," and they're like, "Oh yeah, no, I'm swamped this whole weekend. Like, I gotta be at this booth and do all this work," and it's like, well, then what the hell am I doing here?
Yeah. No, you're not right. You're not wrong. So you're not right. You're not right. But
You're not right. You're wrong. Actually, no, it's true.
All right, let's
Yeah,
move on to our comic book news, though, because like I said, I mean, if we just sit here and chat about VidCon, then do the news, and I'm here the normal time, defeats the purpose of a shorter episode.
exactly. Fair.
So, first topic that Dan has found us today on the wheel of Did Dan Find Something Worth a Shit? We've got Tony Stark and Emma Frost are getting married in X-Men in number 26. This means they're actually getting married or another misdirection. I don't think they're getting actually married.
No.
I think they're hyping up something. When was the last time Tony Stark and Emma Frost spoke?
Right, probably at the last Hellfire Gala.
If they get married, then I've decided that Marvel's decided to not give a shit about building anything up after Ms. Marvel's death, and we're just jumping to what they think will be clickbait.
That's, I mean, is that even clickbait? Like, I don't know. I honestly don't know anymore. Like, I don't know
the
what the
15
general
Emma
public.
Frost fans are gonna care. I'll tell you that.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying, right? Like, Emma Frost doesn't have, like, a vehicle. She's even, like, kind of taken off the board in the X-Men books right now. So what's the drive? It's not Tony Stark, because that book's been rebooted 3 times in the last 2 years.
Oh my god, it's so bad. Why do they keep doing that? Because here's the thing about the Tony Stark reboots. They haven't been terrible. None of them have been soaring, but
No.
they haven't been terrible.
Right, but they keep rebooting them.
I liked Chris Cantwell's run.
Well, I was literally like, "Isn't he married already? Didn't he marry Hellcat?" And they were like, "No, he almost got married to her, but then they didn't." And I'm like, "Oh, cool." So he's been engaged within, like, what's the time frame? Like 5 months, 4?
Right.
I mean, obviously this is a stunt, like, and I think stunt within the story itself, because it's not like we've been reading X-Men here, and let me tell you something, Tony Stark has not appeared. So
No,
it's not like
that's
it's
what
not
I'm
like
saying.
built. Yeah.
It's not like he's been a background character. Like they're walking through Krakoa, and Emma's like, "Well, I got to go meet Tony," and he's like, "Hey."
Yeah, Kingpin's been in more books than Tony Stark right now. Unless they want to go, like, and I would be very okay with this if it's like, if they did this. If they went, "Oh no, Tony and Emma have had a secret 2-year relationship in their minds while this has all been going on." I'd be like, "Okay, you
Yeah.
got me." Emma's a fantastic telepath, and Tony's up for it, so I can imagine that. But I, I this has to be the idea of Jerry Duggan and company. I can't imagine it's clickbait, but I can also imagine, yeah, like, you know what? Weddings sell. Despite the fact that Marvel hates marriages, they love a wedding, as do DC. But comic books love to put a wedding together, and I guess that could work. They did the same thing, as Dan mentioned in the meta text of this link. Kitty and Colossus, we thought that was going to happen. Then no, actually, Gambit and Rogue, which will probably get wrapped up in the next issue of their book. But yeah,
Forget they still had a book.
Yeah, it's 6 issues or 5 ish. It's 5 issues, and it's almost over. And they'll probably get divorced at the end of it. But like, it, I don't know. What is clickbait in the comic book industry anymore? You know, like in order to clickbait, you have to like get people really excited about something to click, right? Or to
Yeah.
buy. Is anyone excited about anything that's happening anywhere? Like, is there any not to like beat it?
They got excited to be mad at Spider-Man killing off Kamala Khan.
They got really excited about that, but like,
But
did they
don't
get excited
worry,
about?
she's back, Sal.
Oh, is she? Is she back? Because I saw you were, I mean, obviously, it's a good transition to the next topic, but yes,
Oh,
is
finish
she
your thought
back?
if you want to finish your thought. If you wanted to keep
Oh
going.
no, just like comics, man.
Comics.
That's right.
I wanted to transition into this. So this is the cover of the wedding issue, Iron Man number 10.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
look who's just chilling.
Oh, I guess she's back.
So in September, sometime before September, I would love it even better if she doesn't come back before September. She just shows up in this issue.
Oh my god.
They don't even explain it.
That's so 100% Marvel to a T. Like, 'cause I could definitely see them like coordinating it where they're like, no, we'll kill her in this issue, we bring her back in this issue, and then by then we'll be good to go. But I could see that what's more likely is the cover artist was like, but I drew her in the cover. Like, I drew that cover 6 months ago.
Is that
And,
America Chavez on that side? It's
yeah.
gotta be. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, I can imagine them going like, well, 2 months ago, I already drew that cover. Like she wasn't dead when I drew it. And, or I started working on that issue, a month and a half ago, and I forgot, and I just put Kamala in there. And because no one at Marvel is an editor, they were like, yeah, just put her in there. Who cares? Like, who's going to notice? And then the fans all immediately notice before the book comes out. And Marvel goes, well, I've never apologized for anything before. I'm not going to start now.
Well, this is the theory that this is not a artist mistake, like you're stating, which a lot of times it is. There is a classified book on August solicits.
Okay.
So the assumption is right in time for a certain movie.
Oh, look, I mean, like, at least that would make sense. A good synergy for them if they were like the return of Ms. Marvel. In August, right before the movie comes out.
Apparently, they've announced that they're going to give information on that classified book at San Diego Comic-Con.
Oh, you don't say. I bet they're also going to release an exclusive like scene from the movie.
Yeah, I could see that.
Right? Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to me. That I get. Like, what's worse is when they do these kinds of things where they kill a character, or they resurrect a character, or they launch a series to try and like, capitalize on the movie, and then the movie gets delayed, and so it's just this thing that comes out like Falcon Winter Soldier, where it's like, oh, here's a book that no one asked for. I guess I'll read it. And the audience went, no, we're not going to read that. And it's like, oh, okay, well, never.
The best part about that was that book wasn't bad. It actually wasn't
bad.
I liked it.
It wasn't bad. It didn't need to exist, but it wasn't bad. And it's like, oh, okay, like, well, keep it up, I guess. But this is great. Like, this is a good coordination. Fine, as long as they sell the book, I'm happy.
I'm just curious what they're doing, because isn't this because in next month we also have the return of the Ultimate Universe, right? Like,
yeah, that starts tomorrow.
Wait, no, it doesn't. I literally have the stuff up. What are you talking about?
Ultimate Invasion starts tomorrow.
No. It's only 4 parts?
Yeah.
The F is going on?
Yeah. Right? Okay.
Oh, I gotta read.
Is there going to be, like, are there tie-in books? Are there other things? I have no idea.
All I know is Ultimate Invasion was going to be that's going to finally bring together the Maker's storyline that they've been doing since Secret Wars.
Yes, since Secret Wars. That's right. Yeah.
Since Secret Wars, he's been looking for ways to bring back the Ultimate Universe.
And then they're going to, and they are going to launch like new books. Like,
but my question, and maybe you have an answer for this, because I've had this question since I first heard this: are we picking up where the Ultimate Universe left off, or are we rebirthing it?
I've heard they're rebirthing it, like that it's going to be a full-on like reboot of the Ultimate Universe. So it's not going to be exactly what you remember. The characters you're going to see in this book aren't going to be like picking up where the last series left off.
Okay, I want that, because what they left off was half the people you gave a shit about were dead.
Yeah, well, I mean, they have to have like there has to be something in the charter that says like, oh, and Jeff Loeb can't ever write in this universe again.
Yeah.
because he killed it. He ruined it, and multiple times they kept it going. Like, hey Jeff, could you script the Ultimate Universe a little more? Until finally he just like put a bullet in the back of its head with the ultimatum.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they'll probably be like, everything that you didn't like about the Ultimate Universe didn't happen. Everything that Jonathan Hickman thinks would be a good universe world building idea is going to be implemented, and that's it.
Yeah.
You know, like just do whatever. The fact is, Marvel doesn't seem to give a crap about the Ultimate Universe. Case in point, it starts tomorrow. Anybody know that?
I didn't know it started tomorrow. I have heard a lot of hype for it. I did not know it started tomorrow.
Only heard
but I
hype
also didn't know Carnage Reigns is almost over.
Exactly. No, honestly,
I've literally been waiting for the next issue of that, Sal. I've literally been like, man, that was a cool cliffhanger. Where are we going with this shit?
Yeah, you missed it. Like,
Yeah,
what?
You know what? I
honestly,
do a lot to read on my flight tomorrow. That's what I got.
There you go. Yeah. No, honestly, this whole thing, like, I don't know. It's coming out. The only hype I've heard about this book is on Twitter, which is nothing.
And I don't go on Twitter anymore, so.
Right? But even if we chose not to, even if we choose not to go on Twitter, and that's our decision, Twitter itself does not equate sales. It doesn't equate what the audience thinks. It's just like the vocal minority of people. It's people who are motivated enough.
That's why Marvel and DC haven't shut up their writers. When there was all that backlash back and forth between one side of the Twitterverse versus another side of the Twitterverse versus the writers jumping in, the reason why no one ever shut them up is because it doesn't affect anything from what they can tell.
Yeah. Oh, I hope that they know that. I hope that they recognize that, oh, well, I guess the writers and artists can just say whatever they want because Twitter doesn't mean sales at all.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I do know that, things happen in the comic book industry internally because of Twitter, which, if you acknowledge Twitter is useless, but also use it to measure value, then you need to pick a side and drop off of it. Because because that is stupid. So,
all right. Next up, did you watch the Kraven trailer?
Of course, I saw the Red Band trailer. Oh,
I did not. So we're gonna watch it live, buddy.
Let's do it.
Okay,
Kraven.
I'm gonna see if I can get excited for this because
how could you?
I'm not expecting to.
How could anyone? I can't believe anyone would ever be excited for the Kraven movie.
What? Are they reinventing the Rhino again?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I have so much. So this is a DC character's origin. They want to make him into a hero before he becomes a villain.
Yep.
They're also seemingly giving him the plot of the Arrow TV show where he's hunting people on a list that his father made.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Why did they make this?
Money.
But Morbius didn't make money.
No, but it didn't cost too much money. You see, and there's a lot of theories about why they're making this movie. There's one that says,
hold on, you, the viewer and listener of this podcast, you made Morbius profitable.
Yeah. No, it never got profitable.
$75 million doubled based on the math that everyone on the internet likes to use is only $150 million to be profitable, and it made $167 million. Sal.
Yeah, nobody spends that much money to make that little amount of money.
And I agree, but it didn't flop, is what I mean. It didn't fail.
It did have a return.
It's more profitable at the moment than the Flash is.
Well, that's fair. Yes, that Shazam too. It's more profitable than the last 3 entries in the DC universe.
That's what I'm saying. Okay,
Suicide Squad as well. But that being said, there's a lot of theories about why this movie exists. One, which I want to debunk right now, is they have to keep making Spider-Man movies, otherwise they lose the rights. That's true, but only with Spider-Man in them. The Morbius and Venom movies, they don't count. Those are extra movies. The theory is that they are just trying to make as much money as they can from the Spider-Man brand as they can, because they are, at the end of the day, a movie studio. And the reality is they're not a comparable movie studio to Warner Brothers and Disney. And so they specialize in making mid-budget movies. They make movies that are only $75 to $100 million. And they think they're good at it, and God bless them. But they know that that's what they do. They can't directly compete with Marvel and DC because all they can make is Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
But they can keep making Sony movies. And that's what essentially these are. And it'll infuse those movies because it's like, diminishing returns of the Resident Evil franchise, which I believe they also owned for a while. And it was like each movie they made was bigger but less profitable. And it's like the only way that it made any money is because it had Resident Evil in the branding. If it was just if it was Ultraviolet, it would have made nothing. It would have made Ultraviolet money.
I liked Ultraviolet, by the way.
I'm not surprised. Let's say Aeon Flux then.
Okay.
But
Aeon Flux did not like.
there you go. But like that is one reason why they're doing it is because they're like, well, we're a studio that makes movies like Morbius and Kraven, so we're just going to keep doing it, but put Spider-Man's name on it or Spider-Man adjacent characters' names on them.
Right.
Put the Marvel logo in front of it, and we've statistically broken it down to learn that we make like upwards of 45% more money than we normally would if we made a movie like this. And that's one good theory for why they did it. Another one, and I love this one, this is a conspiracy tinfoil hat theory, is that they're trying to destroy the comic book genre by over flooding it with shitty movies. So that eventually the bubble will burst faster, and so they can get back to making movies like, what they usually make.
I like that theory.
I love that. I don't think it's true.
I don't
but
think
I
it's
love
true.
That
That's a lot of money for them
so
to continually
diabolical.
waste.
Right?
Millions of dollars to just send out there.
Mm-hmm. Well, because like then they're like, well, if Marvel and DC movies, or arguably just Marvel movies, because DC movies have consistently made less than $1 billion over the last 4 entries, but if Marvel and DC continue to make movies that don't make $1 billion, or it's not cost effective to spend $300 million to make a movie anymore,
right,
then we can be competitive again. Like we can make a Valiant shared universe.
Yeah.
Which they didn't think was so, they thought it was so unprofitable. They let the rights lapse and get split up amongst everybody. Like Paramount has Harbinger, they have Bloodshot, and clearly nobody's interested in that. Although I would blame a lot of that on COVID. But yeah, it's just like, why would they make this? There's a lot of reasons why. I think it has a lot to do with ego. But like,
I still haven't seen Morbius. I will say that one at least looks interesting, though.
It's not.
Morbius didn't look interesting to me.
Yeah.
That one looks like higher budget Arrow.
Yes, I'm sure it is a higher budget than Arrow. Now, that being said, it doesn't look great.
No,
like, it doesn't. It doesn't look great.
That I go for the sake of, I want to see remember, I'm the guy that watches shitty B horror flicks, like the borderline of them being worth your money kind of movies, and I watch shitty sitcoms. This would probably go into one of those, I watched a shitty movie and BS with my buddies about it all night kind of a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Morbius, the thing is, what's so frustrating about Morbius is it is a competent movie. Like, Morbius is a movie.
Right.
It has a protagonist. He has a goal. He attempts to achieve it. He realizes that the goal is not what he wanted from the beginning. And it doesn't get bloated with too many characters,
Mm-hmm.
Like it's more competent than Carnage, and Carnage was just a loud mess.
I didn't mind Carnage, but yeah, Venom 2 is not Venom 1 was at least, I thought, a good movie.
Yeah.
Venom 2 was like, all right, well, what a waste of using Carnage, but okay.
That's the real problem, is that like I didn't really care for Venom, but I could have recognized that it's not like total trash.
Right.
Carnage is trash.
Carnage wasn't good. It was okay. It was like, whatever.
Yeah, it was weird. It's weird how badly they botched it, because it's like, I get why Marvel goes, just get some kid from Sundance we can bully to make some, Project 3B, thing, and we'll just put it out and make our money back. With Sony, it's like, you can't afford to just make movies and not be involved in them. Like, we're just going to sleepwalk our way through Kraven the Hunter. Like, why? When it's so simple. It's such a rock simple premise. Dude hunts animals, hunts Spider-Man at the end.
And you gave him Dr. Monroe powers.
Right. But then you gave him lion powers, which he's had in 2 cartoons. I don't think he had lion powers in the 94 cartoon, but he does in Spectacular Spider-Man.
Does he have powers?
Yeah, it's really.
I've always thought of him that part of his whole thing was that he just didn't have powers.
In the comic books, he straight up doesn't. But in the cartoons, in the first one, he takes like a serum, And then in the Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon, I don't remember how he gets the powers, but I remember him being kind of like a half lion man sometimes.
Look, I googled his wiki to see what they have listed as his
Oh,
power.
good. Yeah, what are his powers? Like probably great tracking. The ability
Great
to
tracking.
like he's a great tracker. He has like accelerated hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah, that's literally it. Enhanced physical attributes, expert martial artist and hand-to-hand combatant, master tactician, hunter, tracker, observer, mastery of various weapons and equipment. That looks like the same power listing as like Taskmaster. Like
Exactly. Except Taskmaster does have like an actual power, which is that he can copy you if he looks at you. Like
right.
which actually would be kind of cool. Kraven versus Taskmaster. I mean, honestly, like Kraven is a versatile character, and clearly Marvel loves him enough because they resurrected his ass, and then and then Nick Spencer like retconned him even further. But like they keep him around. Just put him against people. Like make Kraven versus Black Panther, Kraven versus Predator, Kraven versus Punisher. Like just have him be like, well, I fought the best. Now try the rest. Here we go. I guess I'll fight. Because like Kraven versus Frank Castle as like an almost Predator movie, but it's Kraven is actually that'd be a pretty fun comic book, especially if they like really pushed the rating system. But like this movie, first of all, Kraven has no accent. Secondly, Kraven doesn't hunt animals. He's an activist. The third, there's too many Kravens. There's a dad Kraven who's evil, and then there's our Kraven who's good. And then there's the Kraven brother, who I guess is Chameleon. Woof. Rhino has powers. Like he turns, and
I don't.
It looks.
Has Rhino ever been a mutant?
No. He in the Ultimate Universe. What was
the villain that got stuck in his suit?
That's Rhino. In the main universe, it was a dude who he has a suit on. He can't take it off. From the beginning.
That's what I thought. I thought it was like stuck in the suit. That was
yeah.
I couldn't remember if it was him or Scorpion, or maybe they both had that problem.
Scorpion was also stuck in his suit, but yeah.
A series of mutagenic and chemical radiation treatments provide Rhino with unnatural strength, stamina, durability, and speed, which were then augmented by gamma rays. So his villain origin story is he just tried to do what every superhero did to become.
That's great.
Hit me with all the power stuff.
Yeah.
You got a spider to bite me while we're at it?
Please? Yeah. So there you go. Kraven. Can't wait. R rating. And there's going to be a lot of people who are like, I can't believe these guys are so negative about Kraven the Hunter. You know what I mean? Like, just because the movie shouldn't exist and it's made entirely out of a studio's desperate greed doesn't mean that it doesn't have value, okay? Just because no one's making it who wants to make it. And it has blood in it.
I have my own theories why these movies are being made. And I'm basing it, I literally just
let's hear it. I want to
right now. It's the Joker.
Yeah.
The Joker came out.
You never know.
Exactly. The Joker came out against a budget of $55 million to $70 million. It was not given money because the assumption was it probably won't sell. The Joker's popular, but it probably won't sell. Yeah. So I guarantee you Sony's answer was, if they could at least break even, let's try every villain we have. A vampire, a guy with animal powers, do it. A symbiote Spider-Man, do it.
Right.
If any of these can double their money, we win.
Yeah. No, Madam Web. That movie straight up shouldn't exist. Like it shouldn't have even been a conversation. And
that was a little weird.
They're shooting it.
Because Madam Web's not even interesting. She's not even she's a background character to move things forward. That's all she is.
She's a plot device. But that's why there are other characters in it. And I think they're done. I think they're either done shooting or they've been shooting for over a year. So it's like that movie is made. You will see that movie.
I looked up who's she playing. I looked up the cast. Anya Corazon, the woman who's playing her, is Isabella Merced. Okay, her IMDb photo is, I'm assuming, her spoof of Dora.
Oh, great!
So, like, when you look up the actress playing this Spider Woman,
she might have actually played Dora in the Dora, because there is a
there is a Dora movie. Yeah, okay, that would make some more sense.
But
I thought it was like that fan film where they spoof her.
Yes, I remember that one. No, I guarantee you that was just.
No, she's in the actual Dora and the Lost City of Gold. So you're not wrong. Okay.
Yeah. Man,
I was like, props to her to go from fan film Dora to Spider Woman,
Spider Woman, or Spider Girl, or Aranya.
I don't know what she's gonna be in that one.
Yeah, probably Aranya, but because they're adding like a bunch of Spider Women in that movie. It's gonna be like a few of them. I'm sure the post credit scene could be Emma Stone as Spider Gwen, but I bet they don't do it, because they'd rather ADR a guy in Michael Keaton's outfit and have him say a bunch of nonsense. like in Morbius. But yeah, yeah, this
Did
is
they ADR
horrible.
somebody in his outfit? I didn't even. I mean, I haven't seen the movie, so I guess that's
Yeah,
why I
the
wouldn't know.
post you got to see the post credit scene of Morbius because like it's just it is clearly shot later. You know, you remember how we saw Vulture in all the trailers for Morbius?
Yeah.
Yeah, they cut it all out.
Okay.
Yeah, the part where he's like, "Hey, let's keep in touch, Doc." They were like, "That's not enough." So then at the end of the movie, uh, Michael Keaton like Spider-Man No Way Home's into the cell that he would have had in the Sonyverse from prison in the MCU.
Well, Spider-Verse at least explains how everyone's moving universes. They gave
Right.
that excuse. It works, you know.
Right. Except they showed it using the magic effect
Oh,
as
well,
opposed to
then
like the
they
Spider-Verse
ruined
effect.
that. Cool.
Yeah, no, it's stupid. So he shows up and they're like, well, we have no record of this guy, so we're just going to release him from prison. We have no idea why he's here. And then he gets his Vulture suit, and they're like, "Oh no, it's not. It's not the same Vulture suit. It's the exact same Vulture suit from the MCU." So like, I don't know, maybe there's some Chitauri in the Sonyverse or something, but he manages to make an entire one-to-one Vulture costume. Then he somehow manages off-screen to contact Morbius and compel him to meet him in like a dirt road far out of the city. And then he shows up and he says, "We should team up."
So,
But
do you think this is going to actually lead to the Sinister Six, which is what they
I,
were planning 10 years ago?
I think Sony is desperate to do it. I think Sony will stop at nothing to make a Sinister Six movie. And I think,
But I will say, if they are doing that, they are at least
Yeah.
listening to us where you can't just jump to it.
no.
They're
But-
building up each of these guys. So,
Well, honestly, I wish they would, because in this case, if they just jump to the Sinister Six movie, it could bomb and we could all move on. But like instead, we're gonna get like Scorpion movies and Morbius movies and Kraven movies until it's all just so much. And then they're gonna make the Sinister Six movie, and they're gonna be like, Tom Holland, you have to be in this movie, or you're fired. Like
Yeah.
it's gonna be one of those like effed up, terrible situations. Because Sony does that. Like in remember with that Ghostbusters reboot, they contacted Bill Murray, and based on the Sony leak, it was like, "Oh, if you crap on this movie in public, we will sue you. If you don't appear in the movie, we will sue you." Like it was just all this stuff where it was like they're not afraid of looking really bad or having a terrible reputation as long as it's internal.
Yeah. I will
Uh,
say, in their defense, Bill Murray is notoriously like if you're
Negative.
gonna strong arm anyone with legal,
Uh-huh.
you'd probably I mean, I love Bill Murray, but you'd probably like I respect Bill Murray for his thing of like, you can't get a hold of me. I will
Yeah.
not be on projects. You have to call
Right.
this one phone, and if I'm bored, I'm gonna listen.
Huh?
Like, I respect all of that. So
Yeah.
to me, it makes sense that if Sony's like, we will get goddamn Bill Murray in this threaten him with everything.
Well, like, it's like, did you need
Bill Murray's
Murray?
80, sir. He's 80. We don't think he's gonna. I don't care. Threaten him. We will sue his
threaten we will
kids,
ruin
kids,
him.
kids.
Yeah, it's but like, yeah, so I can imagine them definitely pulling that out for Tom Holland, where they're like,
Yeah.
be in the movie, you're gonna fight the Sinister Six, he's definitely gonna fight Venom. You know, they're like, you are gonna fight Venom, you are gonna fight the Sinister Six.
I mean-
and it's happening.
I'm calling it now. The next 3 movies: Tom
Yeah.
Holland versus Venom, Tom Holland versus Carnage, and Tom Holland
Ugh.
versus Sinister Six.
I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't think Disney's gonna want to do that, but we'll see. I mean, like,
But as much as we don't want to actually see that, what part of you does? And those will each be $1 billion. Come on, think about it. Spider-Man versus Venom. That's just the movie, the title, the everything. Do not tell me you would
Yeah.
not go see that.
I mean, like, I'll see it because I do this for a living, but like, I fundamentally have a problem with these movies and their whole approach to them. So, like, I don't want to see Spider-Man fighting that Venom. I don't want to see that Venom movie franchise succeed.
Well, it
I
already
especially
did,
don't want to see
so
that.
we got to
Sinister
move
Six.
on from there.
Well, did Venom
Yeah.
versus Carnage do very well?
Oh, actually, I don't know about the second one. Let me see.
Yeah,
That,
I don't
the
know.
2018 film got to 856,000, $1 million against
Okay.
against $100 million budget.
That's
So
a
what-
massive success.
that's a
That's a
huge
runaway success. Yeah.
And then the sequel, because I swear it did do well, but I don't
Right.
want to. I don't want to just say that.
Yeah.
The sequel did 506 million against a 110 million budget, so it's totally still banked.
It did well, but that is a drop.
That is a drop. 506. But also keep in mind, 2021. That was still during a lot of COVID.
Yeah, there were a
issues.
couple of restrictions. I do remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was one of I remember that because I was like, they were like, they're coming out with this. So the
Yeah.
fact that it was able to pull that down during that climate
That's
in
true.
movies, I mean,
Yeah.
movie theaters in general have not recovered from COVID.
No.
Yeah,
No.
we've got Top Gun did well. We've got like
Yep.
Spider-Man, but for every time we have a movie that breaks 1 billion, we have movies that were supposed to do well
Yeah.
that tanked horribly.
Well,
And
and
I'm not even referencing Flash. Look at the
No.
new Pixar movie.
Oh my God.
That's what I mean. Like,
Well, also, it's not the new Pixar movie looks like Inside Out again, right?
yeah,
Like,
but
it
it's
just
still a
look-
Pixar movie.
Yeah,
It's-
no, but like the problem is it's not exciting or interesting enough. Like it's the same shit. It's Pixar's new Elementals movie or whatever it's called is like that movie is so unexciting because it's like, oh look, it's the latest Pixar movie. Whereas Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, it has Spider-Man in it, but also no one's talking about like how compelling the story is, and it is. No one's talking about how Miles is a really fun and well-rounded character, and he is. They're talking about how beautiful and incredible and game-changing the animation is.
Yeah.
And like any other animated property that you're hearing about is like Puss in Boots. You know, Puss in Boots was just like crapped out by DreamWorks, but because they were given a nice budget and they were left alone, it's a gorgeous looking movie, and
Yeah.
people are talking about the animation. And so it's like you're watching these movies that are coming out that are like game changers for studios, and then Pixar goes, and here's Cars 5. You're welcome. Mic drop. Let's move on. All right. Oh, what the hell? This movie didn't make $900 million. I don't understand. And it's like because you can't just expect your franchise to deliver when you don't do anything new, interesting, or innovative. And
Right.
that's why I think that's like number 2, if not number 1, why Elementals did not work out, or why the last 6 movies didn't work out. People are like, it's woke. It's like, no, it's not woke. It's boring.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of things have changed thanks to the COVID era, where a lot of people discovered we don't have to go out every Friday. We don't have.
Well, damn right.
And I think that did change a lot of things. Like Little
Yeah.
Mermaid did okay. It's at 468 million. I'm assuming probably a $200 million budget for that one.
Yeah, that's not.
I think Transformers is officially a success.
Transformers did well. Yes.
Yep,
did
Transformers is
very
about
well.
to break 300 million worldwide, so that's doing okay. But we're not hitting those old numbers we used to have. You know,
No.
we're not.
Well, and good. You know what? Like good. And the reason why I say good is because it's like, you know what the main reason why these movies don't break 1 billion anymore is because it's unsustainable to keep breaking 1 billion every year, multiple times for multiple studios,
Yeah.
and the audience is broke.
Well, it's not only is the audience broke, because we've also got inflation we're all dealing with right now.
Yeah, like
But on top of that, they've almost trained us to wait for it to come to streaming now.
yeah,
Like they did it. They did what they wanted. Hey, we're gonna put them out of streaming. You're all gonna watch it. You're right. Then they realize they don't make money off of that,
right.
and now they're in a boat of like, well, crap. Everyone's gonna wait 3 months for it to come to. Fast and the Furious 10. We were talking about this yesterday, and I didn't realize this. I haven't seen that movie yet. I'm downloading it for the flight. It's out, Sal.
Yeah,
It's
I
out
know.
on digital. I can watch it tonight.
Oh my god, that's I know. But like the other thing for me about this whole thing is
John
like
Wick 4 also is out.
John
and
Wick 4.
Like I didn't catch that in the theater. That was 2 months ago now.
Yeah. No, we're in a place where it's like, F you, how dare you? Like, these studios have essentially conditioned us to join their Patreon in the form of their terrible streaming services. Because I'm paying Disney, I'm paying Warner Brothers, I'm paying like whoever, like what, $15 a month to have access to their crap?
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, and in addition, get in your car, go into a big building full of idiot morons who are going to be eating loudly, talking during the movie, or filming the movie with their stupid phones, and watch the movie for the equivalent of $30.
Right.
Like, and then go home. Like, and then watch our crap on our streaming service that you're like, I'm already paying you to have your crap. And then you're like, oh, and you also need to pay me over there too. Leave and pay me. Like, no. And so I'm already broke. You know, none of us have any money, and you're expecting me to pay you to like to destroy the viewing experience of entertainment because it's full, it's overcrowded, it's over like bloated, and it's all the same crap anyway.
I mean,
And I don't even have a guarantee that this like what was the whole point of it? Like Disney buying Fox, right? They're like, we need all this stuff to go into our Netflix competitor.
right. That was the whole point of it.
That was the whole point of it. Like, you can get access to all the Disney stuff And it's like, okay, yeah, that's why they pulled other contracts from Netflix and stuff, like to have all their stuff in one place. If Disney Plus is like, oh, we're losing the rights to Willow, we're losing the rights to the Jeff Goldblum experience, and then what the f are you doing? Because for me, that says that you're only doing it because you don't want to pay rights to people who made those things, and
Right.
there's no excuse. And but if that can happen, like we should be in a golden age of access to everything. Like if I want to watch Botsmaster, a show that I still don't think is available on streaming, I should be able to watch it on streaming from whatever studio owns the damn thing, right? I should be able to watch every Huckleberry Hound cartoon. I should be able to see every single Flintstone Kids show.
Yeah.
I should be able to watch every single Denver the Last Dinosaur show. I should be able to watch every Small Wonder, anything that's come out in the last 75 years. I should watch every Dick Van Dyke episode. And if I don't have unfettered access, if I pay you a monthly subscription fee, then that's your fault. That's your fault, and you're doing it to F me. And no, F you, actually. And I hope your movie fucking tanks. Like, I hope you lose all your money. Because if I have to pay you a subscription fee to like be a fan, and then you make a movie that like cost way too much, no one asked for, and came out only for like 3 weeks, then what am I supposed to think? Oh, and also when it comes out, like when it fails,
Yeah.
we're gonna put it on our streaming service, and then it'll go off our streaming service because we don't want to pay them anymore. Like, so when am I going to watch this thing? Oh, and we also have completely removed DVD and Blu-ray sections from Targets. So you can't even buy the damn thing anymore.
The one that's bothering me, did you end up seeing the movie Barbarian?
No.
It's an incredible horror movie, and it's incredible.
I heard of that movie. Yes, is that Justin Long?
Yes, Justin Long is in it.
We really wanted to see that.
You see it because there's talks that it's going to get removed from streaming, and they're not releasing it anywhere. So you just can't watch it anymore.
You'll never see it. Cool.
Yeah. Like I'm seeing articles like Barbarian might go away for good. And I'm like, that movie's amazing. What are you talking about? It might go away for good.
Yeah.
It's one of the best horror movies I've seen recently, and it's 100% unexpected. You will not see where it's going.
It's great.
So I highly recommend checking it out within the next week, just in case.
Okay.
All right, we had one last topic here we're going to hit. Wow, we did the full show like normal anyway. So much for my early day to get ready for VidCon.
All right.
Oh, no, not your fault, man. I have fun chatting with you. That's why we do the show. Blue Beetle director says that the Blue Beetle movie is in universe.
Yes.
Here's interesting. There's reports that the Supergirl from Flash is in talks to come back for that Supergirl movie. But apparently Ezra Miller might probably be out at this point. So
good.
I honestly feel like I think he should. I think they should be out.
I want them all out. Like
I think at this point, just reboot all of the ones in the Snyderverse because you didn't even bring them back for a final farewell in the Flash. Just call it a day. Just call it. That was it. That's their last hurrah. Call it a day.
Yeah.
We're all in that movie.
Great.
Yeah, they bring her back. I'm down with that.
Yeah. Yeah, she was great. For as much as we got of her. But like I'm let's hope that Blue Beetle, because I think Blue Beetle is very much just like they made it for HBO Max originally, and then it was
it's a made-for-TV movie, and they've dubbed it the first movie in the new James Gunn DC universe,
right. Which it absolutely was not made to be.
No, and James Gunn actually had no part in it. He said it's just so good and fun that he wants it to be a part of his universe. So
yeah, but from what I think, I'm willing to bet. Because James Gunn also, like, people were like, "Boo, James Gunn lied to us," and I'm like, they all lied to you. Everyone lies to you every single day, especially when they work in the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
But like, James Gunn was very careful. If you watch all of his interviews about The Flash, where he's like, "I think it's great. Remember, I had nothing to do with it.
Yes,
I didn't make it. I didn't know anybody in it. I didn't work on it. I wasn't anywhere near it. I was working on Marvel movies at the time. I have nothing to do with it." That movie is not emblematic of the quality you're going to get in the DC universe going forward. Just so you know, I think it's great. I love it. You know, I'm contractually obligated to say I love it, but don't forget, I have nothing to do.
It'd just be career suicide to be like, that was shit. That's terrible.
Garbage.
That's garbage. You're gonna notice a lot of problems with it. I had nothing to do with it. The overall concept's good, but they're burning the Flashpoint concept, so I can't use it now. So,
right. And I'm sure he'll say it. Like, I'm sure he will say it like a year from now. You know, when he's like, "Oh, so people are going to ask him over and over and over again, probably until he dies. What do you think about Flash now that you're so far removed from it? Now that I'm not in that universe anymore." And he'll probably say something like, "Well, there were a lot of missteps. I obviously I had nothing to do with that movie. So like, I had fun watching it. You know, it's
It's
the
like,
easiest.
that's for the record, everyone who might be. I actually enjoyed the Flash. Doesn't I don't
Right.
think Sal did, but
I had
did.
fun watching it
Yeah.
for the most part. I was just like, but it has a lot of flaws. Like my
Oh yeah,
problem was
like I said, in a year I'm gonna forget I watched it. I don't even
that's the
remember
other
what's going
thing
on.
is that it's
Yeah.
completely forgettable.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, he's gonna be like, yeah, I know, I thought it was fine. But it has nothing to do with what I'm doing. Blue Beetle, I think, is just like, well, it's so singular and it's so divorced. Like a character will say, "Oh, Batman, he exists," but we won't like see his batarang that is clearly Ben Affleck's batarang, right? Like
Yeah.
we're gonna hear Batman reference, we're gonna hear Superman reference, and we already know they're like established in the James Gunn universe. So it's like, okay, you know what? If the movie costs like, you know, whatever it costs to make the TV budget, and it makes movie money, then that's a success.
Yeah.
All right, sounds good to me.
To answer the questions, because a couple people are asking what I meant by she's in talks. She's in talks.
Well,
They have
like
not
she has
announced that
talked
she
to
is the
them.
Supergirl in Woman of Tomorrow, or was it?
No.
Yeah, Superman.
Yes,
They-
Woman of Tomorrow. Yeah,
Yeah,
No,
they
Sasha
have
Calle
not
has
announced
talked-
that.
Yeah, Sasha Calle has spoken to Peter Safran about being that Supergirl in
Yes.
the new universe.
Spoken to. It's all we got. Like,
Yeah. And I'm sure that is like, maybe they had a meeting, maybe she left a voicemail. We have no idea. And I think I could go either way. I think she's
parked
great.
outside of his house. Peter!
Please.
Peter!
I mean, listen, Tom Holland did the exact same thing to Eisner when Sony was like, "No, we're taking it back." He's like, "Please don't. Please, for the love of God, I don't want to be in Morbius."
I don't want to be in more.
And I don't blame him because that would have really
I
sucked.
mean, I saw the latest thing. Tom Holland is still not guaranteeing he'll be in 4. He's still saying only if the story's good am I going to bother.
Chris
coming
Evans
back.
said the same thing about all the Captain America movies.
Oh, I know, but I'm just saying he's still saying that. We're like,
Yeah, no. And what's really sad, and I feel bad because like I think Tom Holland is a good actor, but like I think every movie he has made that isn't Spider-Man has bombed.
Yep. Actually, I saw a report. For the most part, most of the MCU actors have gotten 0 success outside of the MCU.
Yeah.
Which is weird because I've seen them in a lot of things. Anthony Mackie, Sebastian Stan, or Shaw.
Chris Hemsworth is in, yeah.
Hemsworth, but they just don't, they're not getting the same success. And I've seen those movies, but.
Yeah. No, Tarantino said it about, he talked about how like these movies, which would have 30 years ago created movie stars, are not creating movie stars. Like these are people who play characters. Like the characters are the stars.
Yeah. Well, and I
like,
agree with that because we all want them to leave their masks on. We don't give a shit that Robert Downey Jr. might be one of the few people where you're like, no, that is Tony Stark.
That's fine.
I'm going to be controversial. I love Chris Evans as Captain America, but
yeah,
he's not the only option we have for Captain America.
Well, Marvel has admitted that because they've replaced him.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I know a lot of people will live and die by that hill. Like, I love Winter Soldier, but
yeah,
you could get anyone else to wear a paintball mask and some black paint and like it.
Well, and I'm
it
sure.
Would work.
I mean, that's kind of like the theme of that Falcon Winter Soldier show, right? Where they were like, we can put anybody in there. We can put Kurt Russell's son in there.
Yeah,
and nobody cares. And it's like, yeah, you know what? But the whole point of the movie is like, or the show, I should say, is like, well, but it matters who's in there. And it's like, yeah, I get that, but
not the actor wise. And I hate to say that because I really like a lot of these actors, but
yeah. Yeah, but I also don't want to see like a revolving door of them. But we've proven it doesn't matter because Edward Norton was the Hulk, and then like they replaced him immediately.
We didn't talk about that. Marvel.
Oh yeah, the Hulk. Yes.
Let's end today's show talking about that.
Is that true? Is that true? Well, yeah.
I think from what I read, there is no actual confirmation.
No.
What it is based on is we knew the actual contract that Universal signed.
We've seen it, yeah. Or at least we've heard the numbers.
Right.
Yeah.
So unless there was a change to the contract, it's just expired. Like there's no official statement that Marvel didn't come out and be like, we got the Hulk, so we're making Hulk movies. That was never said. But you can infer based on what happened in She-Hulk, things that Mark Ruffalo has said, and the fact the original contract said that it was going to expire, that Marvel's got the rights back and there's a high chance we're getting something.
Right, because we know that the Incredible Hulk movie has been added to the MCU timeline and access in Disney+.
Right.
Now, according to this quote from originally comingsoon.net, but apparently was pulled from Variety, while nothing has been officially confirmed, the sudden appearance of the Incredible Hulk on Disney+ has some fans to speculate. In a recent article, Variety notes that, quote, in a notable shift, the rights have reverted to Marvel Studios, leading to the film's release on Disney+. Now, That is a Variety quote in comingsoon.net's article.
Right.
But we have not gotten an official note from Universal or Disney, and so therefore, I'm not going to take it as Bible truth. But the Disney Plus quiet ad suggests to me that we are in that world, and the reality is Universal was never going to make another Hulk movie anyway.
No,
so.
they were perfectly fine just banking off of Marvel using the character. They were perfectly
Yes.
fine with that.
Now, that being said, let's assume Marvel got the rights back to the Incredible Hulk, and the writer's strike ends within the next month or two. What do you want to see from the Incredible Hulk 2?
That Planet Hulk movie we skipped. You want to see
Planet
over.
Hulk? Didn't we just get that? Wouldn't it feel kind of redundant that like he goes back to another planet, maybe Sakaar? He has to put on the gladiator thing. He's got to fight big things again. Like, aren't people going to go, I just saw that in that Thor movie?
Okay. So
no. I mean,
what I would like to see them explore is the Immortal Hulk concept. That would be a fun one.
Marvel's never going to make that movie. I mean, not with that horrible hairline Hulk son that he has. But listen,
God, that hairline.
they could always say that was. They could literally go like, "Hey, what didn't you have?" Somebody could say, "Hey, didn't you have a son?" And She-Hulk just looks at the camera and goes, "That didn't work."
Yeah. Oh yeah. You
That
have someone
didn't
for
fly.
I would like to see the Immortal. I mean, if we're spitballing, I'd like to see the Immortal Hulk storyline. I would like to see.
Planet Hulk would be cool.
I think Planet Hulk would be cool, and I'd love to see World War Hulk. Could you imagine the next
Yeah.
Avengers movie is them fighting Hulk?
100%.
That would be your $1 billion movie, right?
Absolutely.
There. Just seeing the Hulk pick up the Avengers and hurl them.
Yeah,
but they won't do it. They won't do it.
Basically, you'd get like Endgame, but it's the Hulk.
Right. That's what I mean. Like, why won't they do that? You could set that up. That could be our new post-credit scene. Hulk teasers. What's happening? What's going on with him?
Yeah, that's true.
And then that Avengers World War Hulk. He lands and he's pissed.
Yeah. Honestly, people would lose their minds. I think there's a cool done-in-one Ragnarok-esque, but more honest and dark movie you could do, but it doesn't. But it could also it could lead to the fall of the Hulk that like goes to Planet Hulk. But I want to see Future Imperfect. I want to see Hulk go to the future, bump into the evil Maestro version of himself, and it's just like a character study / also crazy dystopian future, like Mad Max meets Escape from LA kind of, or Escape from New York kind of
Kang
movie.
With him. Kang's not a threat anymore. We've killed him off with the Ant-Man. He's not a threat.
Maestro kills him.
Maestro becomes the new big bad.
Dude, yes.
Because you're still dealing with time travel, which would still lead to branching pathways. So you don't have to change the plot that much. You just put Maestro in the role.
Dude, they're still making Deadpool 3. What if Maestro is in charge of like the contest of champions that Deadpool's involved with all the Wolverines and stuff? Like we have Maestro is the new secret big bad because we've vetted Mark Ruffalo for the last 15 years or whatever. We're good. He can be the big bad of the MCU for right now. Yeah, I mean, I'd take, especially because then it doesn't ruin Hulk, right? Because he could be like, people could go, I don't know if I can trust Hulk because in the future, he might turn evil, but we still have a bad guy.
The climax could just be Hulk versus Maestro. I know it'd be a giant CGI fight, but I'll take it.
I mean, who at this point is complaining about that? That's what Let There Be Carnage came out and was, people love that.
Yeah.
That's what Endgame all was. It was just a bunch of CGI crap.
Yeah, they definitely weren't running around actually fighting Josh Brolin.
No, I mean, like some of them, like maybe the three of them, maybe the Trinity. But like, it was pretty. I would take that. But I think you're right that Hulk. I think the Hulk rights are back, and we'll see that. You know where we're really going to see it? Not just Disney Plus, the parks. If Hulk starts walking around.
All right, well, I'm going to bring our episode to a close today. It was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with all these topics. This is a rambling podcast. It's going to be fun to figure out what Dan titles it.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you guys for watching today's episode of Absolute Comics. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and we'll be back next week with more talks of the comic world. Give us your theories about what they should do with Hulk now that he's back down below. Because it's in a weird spot because they kind of ran his storyline into the ground as it stands.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. They MCU killed him. Which is to say they gave him a child.
Yes, they did.
That's the new dad.
Killing them is sad, but if they're dads, happy ending.
Happy ending, I guess, maybe?